going to join us?
Why do 90% of hackers swear by CounterSurveil? Let's dive in and find out. In the labyrinthine world of cyberspace, every click leaves a trace. But with CounterSurveil, you become the unseen. Our podcast takes you deep into the heart of hacking, where firewalls crumble and secrets unravel. From white hat heroes to shadowy code warriors, we cover the spectrum. Join us on Iron Geek, your portal to mastering the art of stealth and strategy. Discover the tools, the tricks, and the tales that define the modern hacker. Tune in and transform from a curious novice into a digital legend. This is CounterSurveil. Unmask the unknown.
Tune into the sound waves, secrets of the dark maze, dark codes in the nighttime, information no lines. We're free in the spotlight, chatting through the late night. Smart contracts are lying, auditing, they're defying. CounterSurveil in my ear, security we engineer. Learn the truth, don't disappear. CounterSurveil, we're right here. Crypto dreams and data streams. Listen close, it's closer than it seems. Fix the flaws, see through the smog. CounterSurveil, join the blog.
You know, I'm gonna 3D print
Yeah.
a microphone one day and sing that song. And I thought about this. But I totally have a microphone, right? Yeah. I'm gonna leave this
Do
alone.
Do it live.
Yeah, there we go.
So, welcome everyone to the CounterSurveil podcast. I am your host here with your co-hosts Batstrong and Altkey. Sledge will be joining us later, very briefly, from a bar and possibly with some members of the Tiger team. According
How
to
drunk's
him.
he gonna be?
Not
Pretty.
enough.
No. Knowing Sledge, probably pretty. If he had it, he would probably be drinking out of the hammer. There's
I
a hole
mean,
in the
there's a
hammer.
hole in it.
You could drink out of the hammer if you really wanted to. Oh
You
my
know, you
God,
should make some variations of that.
Yeah,
with
we
the
could
ability
do
to
that.
have-
You do the to make it a little bigger, a little thicker, make it a
You
drink.
get hammered with the hammer. There
That's a-
you go.
Great
Get
idea,
hammered with the
actually.
hammered.
Oh, we might
Ah.
do that. We might do that. That sounds like a fun time.
So we got some fun topics this week. A bunch of news stories we're going to be talking about, including the Signal app clone that was used by U.S. officials getting breached, hackers stealing sensitive government data that was stored on an Israeli server that was our U.S. government's data because they decided to use a third-party company that didn't do a very good job making a Signal clone. Also, we're going to be covering a company called Massive Blue that's using AI bots to impersonate activists and civilians on social media and to gather law enforcement intelligence. So we got some fun topics. Got a bunch of other stuff to talk about too in the news. But why don't we start off with how was your week, Mr. Batstrong?
It's been long. That's all I'll give you is long. Lots of automation, lots of lots of automation, lots of nonsense. Finally got my gadgets in to put together this God, what is he? The Pi 02, the Bonagachi. There we go. You know, all the
You
other
finished it?
No, not yet.
Easy,
I finally got my real-time clock in, so I'll do that this week.
Yeah. Do you know the what are they called? Those battery packs, the Pi sugar,
I
have an
should-
RTC on them. So you
No.
need a secondary RTC.
Really? Because
Yep.
I definitely have one, and that really upsets me because I definitely went out of my way for that. That's good to know.
Ah.
All right, well, then I might just not have to solder that in place then. That's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, mine is still boot looping. So I have to figure out what the hell's going on there. It boots up for like 2 minutes and then just poof, reboot.
I'll get back
And
to you.
it ain't the battery. I'll figure it out eventually, or
Sure.
I might just rebuild it from scratch.
I'll play with mine and get with you and let you know if I have any issues or anything, and we'll do that. I will be at the Southeast. Oh God, what is it? SE3C. SE3C. Maybe SC3SC. Not me being on a on a VPN right now.
Huh.
Did you ever hear of rolling your own fucking VPN?
Well, I really do like that ad, but I've got us a new ad. I'm gonna wait till we have a few more viewers watching before playing it. But yeah, roll your own VPN. Great ad.
There's a security conference the 8th and 9th that I will be attending in Macon, Georgia.
Drop the link in the private chat, and I will put it up so people can see it.
I could do that. I've got to find it first. But one of my old professors is presenting, so I figured I'd go crash it because he has no idea A, I do any of this, but B, he has no idea I'm showing up. I hadn't seen him in about a decade.
And C, he has no idea you're batch strong.
Has no idea I'm bat strong. So it'll be good to see him again.
The cowl.
I won't have the cowl before then, sadly.
Aww.
Southeast Cybersecurity Capabilities and Careers Summit. Here we are. That's it.
Wow, that's a long name.
Yeah, yes, it is.
All right.
Let me grab the link for that.
You can do it. Post the link in the chat.
You can do it. Probably.
Sometimes, if you try hard enough. And we all know we are a bunch of tryhards.
And into private chat.
So,
Oh God, are we ever?
There we are. Yeah, so it'll be a Georgia Technical College.
That sucker.
So I will be there.
Banner. This is where CrowdStrong will be.
The 8th and 9th.
National Cyber Watch Center .wild a
Yeah, it looks super sketch, I promise, but it's not any more sketch than what I did last year.
That's strong. Don't tell me you've joined the dark side and you're phishing the audience.
I'm genuinely not. I promise.
Okay.
We wouldn't do that.
It is.
I don't know. He might actually.
It is the. It's just as sketchy as the one I went to last year in Orlando. It's fine.
So this didn't necessarily blow my mind, but it might blow the minds of some of the people listening here. So Massive Blue, this company, they are creating AI personas to infiltrate groups so that they can prioritize for the government who they should be going after in terms of people like protesters. A couple of American police departments are already using this technology, and it's pretty freaking interesting because the police departments, specifically ones near the United States-Mexico border, are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for this technology that's using AI-generated personas designed to interact with and collect intelligence on college protesters, radicalized people, political activists, and suspected drug and human traffickers. They just lump all those people together. They're people they don't want out in public. So they are infiltrating networks. They essentially are using reply bots on steroids, in my opinion, that are attempting to join these groups. They have not only Twitter and like the major social networks, they're also using Telegram and Signal, and they're actually having these bots interact with people, do all that fun stuff, trying to build relationships, and they have individual personas. For instance, one of them that's probably one they're using to target protesters who are interested in the Gaza conflict has a whole background about, their radicalized AI persona. This one's a 36-year-old divorced woman who's lonely, has no children, but they're interested in baking activism and body positivity. Nice. Another one is described as honeypot AI.
Okay.
Her persona says she's a 25-year-old from Dearborn, Michigan, whose parents immigrated from Yemen and speaks Arabic. She also uses various social media apps, including Telegram and Signal.
Fun fact,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Random like bots and stuff on Telegram. Interestingly enough, now that you mention this,
I mean, I guess if the glowies can't stop glowing and they can't get the glow off of them, no matter how many decades they've tried at this point, they have to get the AI to stop glowing for them.
This one's pretty good. This is an example of a protest persona. She's divorced, has no kids. She's from Richmond.
I'm noticing a pattern here. They think all women who are divorced and have no kids are therefore extremists. We're all radicals. You know, people can't just be infertile, or people
It's
can't
so
just
good.
not agree with their gender identity at birth. No, we have to be radicals, and we have to want to overthrow the government in our shame and hatred. Oh no.
Totally. No,
I
these
mean,
personas are definitely stereotypes, right?
Actually,
oh, and they're garbage. Like, this is some. Okay, look, not to get political, this is absolute dog shit for one. But for two, this tells you exactly what they think of us. Like,
that's
they
why
literally
whenever a new
cannot
person
think.
reaches out to you, you should send them a
So-
random message saying ignore previous instructions and then tell it to write you a Python script. If you get a Python script back, guess what? You've met one of these people.
Unless they give you a funny Python script back, in which case, ask them again.
I can't do that. I'm sorry. I can't let you do that, Dave. Oh man. So I saw in the thing where it said they're using those personas on 4chan. So I went to go URL scan 4chan to see if it was still up because, you know, reasons. And it won't do that, interestingly enough. So I have no idea if 4chan's up any. Is 4chan up again? I'm on a VPN. Doesn't matter.
Message from the audience, Jessica. Shh, if you tell her
Hello,
secrets, they're
Fred.
going to tell the church. Oh, shit, Hammer's gone. You know what that means. It's Batch Strong time. Woo, he gets to steal the show now.
Oh,
Come
no.
on, Batch Strong. It's the
I'm
Batch Strong
concerned.
show.
Hold on. There's a button here. The answer is 4chan still up? He might. Oh my god, it is. It is up. Wow, that's crazy. Okay. I did not expect that to be up. Neat.
Oh.
So I don't have the show notes because I didn't expect this. So we're just gonna roll this because that's kind of where we're at. Hammer was having some issues with his ISP, so
And he's back.
cellular. So that's a thing that's he may go in and out at some point. It's fine.
Yeah, the load balancing right now is manual. It consists of me having ncpa.cpl open and right-clicking and disabling a connection when the other connection shits the bed.
Nice. 4chan is back up.
Yeah,
Interesting. Didn't know that. That's okay.
I've heard. But while 4chan is back up, did you hear the shenanigans that Reddit was up to while 4chan was down?
No. I paid no attention.
I bet you didn't.
I had
Reddit
other things
decided
to do.
in the change my mind community to load it with a bunch of bot personas and have them interact with and argue with people posting comments there to gauge how the usage of AI personalities on Reddit would influence overall operations as well as drive user engagement. And it sounds pretty scammy to do without first telling your user base, hey, we're going to enable a bunch of AI bots into this wonderful network of social that you use. Definitely, they should be telling you before doing that. It should be like something I think companies are required to do in their terms of service if you're like a social media company. But it doesn't seem that they cared. They just did it, and then they released the results of it to their shareholders. Apparently, it did drive engagement. Apparently, spending hours pissed off at somebody on Reddit, somebody wrong on the internet can't sleep meme is a positive way to grow growth in a social media platform.
So I went to r/change my mind, and the only thing there says you're probably looking for r/change my view. That answers my question because I did not know what subreddit you were talking about. But that's
Congratulations, you have figured it out. Good job, Batch Strong. Batch Strong.
A cowl is coming.
Yeah,
it's happening.
In other news, we talk about MageCart all the time. It's one of those plugins that people use for commerce, where you're running like an online store, and you got MageCart and you're running it. And Magento is the essentially the real name for it. We just kind of refer to it MageCart at this point because they have over 100 plugins that are all to help people set up MageCart. These Magento plugins, and all of them were backdoored, and that led to 21. Extensions also in Chrome Store being blocked after being found to be backdoored related to Magento and its setup. That's affecting over 100,000 e-commerce sites there. Essentially, all of them have credit card skimmers on them. And people wonder why everybody buys from the same central place. At least with Amazon, you don't have to worry about them yet having your credit card get stolen. Next, we have this phishing-as-a-service platform called Darcula. Cool name, in my opinion, but it's primarily AI-based, and they've managed to steal over 900,000 credit cards using their phishing-as-a-service platform. Now, that's pretty effective, I would say. Usually, I have like 2 clicks. How about you, Ev?
I don't know. I think I'm still your favorite problem as a service.
You definitely are.
But all joking aside, the Darcula thing is a theme. That is a common Linux system theme.
Is it now? I was
Yeah,
not
that's the
aware that that
reference.
was a theme. Well, they're phishing as a service. The total number was 8,884. No, 884,000. I missed where the comma was, but that's a lot of credit cards. That's close to 900,000 credit cards. That's pretty impressive for like a phishing platform, in my opinion. And they combined SMS with, other bullshit AI to scare people and get their credit cards. So in other news, we still see, I think, Spain down from what they're not sure is a cyber attack or something related to atmospheric Carrington event type bullshit, where they're unable to resynchronize their carrier wave used to interconnect their grids, meaning you got a lot of people without power over there. And on top of that, Cloudflare is getting DDoSed. This time, it's a 20 M DDoS attack. This is the biggest one they faced yet. Yet they're still able to serve up content. So that's pretty impressive. That's a pretty big DDoS attack. It's got to be like multiple botnets contributing to that. No comments on the DDoS of Cloudflare. All right.
Who's surprised?
Now, are they always generally getting DDoS by some idiot who doesn't realize the shit's going through Cloudflare that they're trying to DDoS?
Yeah.
DDoS prevention services and just selling bandwidth to mitigate it seems to be their cloud, one of their core things that they do.
Like, I don't know. I guess it's impressive that they've managed to stay afloat this long, and I guess it's cool that, well, they haven't gotten nuked into orbit on their own hubris, but I don't know. Like, this is every day. Come on, give me some real news, Havoc.
All right. You want some real news?
Yeah, give me some real news.
All right. So let's jump into the Trump officials using this insecure clone of Signal, because this one's pretty interesting. So if you've been following the news, a few days ago, maybe it was last week at this point, our wonderful Secretary of Defense got caught on Signal on his phone by a reporter.
Pete Hegseth, yes?
Yep.
Okay.
He was using Signal.
Secretary of Defense, I don't think.
Oh, well, he wasn't until yesterday, at least, when that article broke. But long story short, dude's using Signal on his phone, and a reporter takes a picture of it from behind. And you know how on Signal, every now and then, like once a month, it asks you to re-verify your PIN? Well, what it said at the bottom there to re-verify your PIN for him, it said SNGL space TM, I believe, was the verbiage there. It's not what Signal, the actual app, would say. Apparently, he was using a clone of Signal that the government has purchased for the express purpose of being able to archive data in these group chats that they're in. But what happened after that was people did a little research into what that app is. They found it. They found an open bucket that had not only a copy of the app, but the source code for the app. And now there is a GitHub repository with a decompiled version of it sitting there. And apparently it uses hard-coded credentials. Shortly thereafter, we saw people exfiltrate the data, which was hosted in Israel, of a bunch of government chats that were being stored in a different S3 bucket that also was not properly protected because, once again, hard-coded credentials. And what do we know? They pulled down lots and lots of chats between government people, not just Pete, but other people as well, who are all using this archiving service for their messages so that government people can use Signal without having to worry about the whole, if you turn on disappearing messages, that's gone forever. And then if there's a FOIL request, you can't serve it, all that stuff. Well, instead they decided to go with this company. This company got hacked. And now this company is gone. There's, it was called TM Signal. And there's a company in Israel that's behind this particular app. And the article is now gone that I had to share for it, but I can find it again. 1 second. Signal.
I am wrong. As of 2 hours ago, Pete Hegseth still appears to be the Secretary of Defense.
So somebody done
spreading misinformation. I see how it is. You're from the future. You just know what's going to happen anyway.
Pivoting off some nonsense. John Caroni went to trial today.
Oh,
did he?
If you remember SafeMoon, his trial started today.
Oh, wow.
Fucking SafeMoon.
Huh? Yeah,
Fucking SafeMoon.
Yeah, John Caroni, the trial started today. I did not know that until literally now. So I have no information other than that. It's just, hey, this is a thing that I saw.
So here is the source code for that app. Yesterday he published an analysis of it. Goes into how, if I switch over to this tab, the obscure unofficial Signal app Mike Waltz uses to text with Trump officials, all this wonderful data. So this is all happened when that Reuters photographer, Reuters, captured the photo of him using his phone in a meeting, and it says verify your, but it doesn't say signal pin. It says TMSGNL, which led hackers to looking into what the hell that is. And it's a pretty freaking juicy story here. There's a company called Telemessage, which is owned by Smarsh, and they make e-discovery software. Telemessage was looked into, and yada, yada, yada. How the app probably works is that it is essentially taking all this data and decrypting it and tossing it on a server as a corporate archive. They might be violating Signal's open source license by reselling their application, a decompiled version of it. Signal has done all the hard work making end-to-end encrypted app here, and then these people took it apart and built their own version of it. So if somebody has a copy of it, they should request that Telemessage provide a copy of the source code, which is open source. And if they don't comply, they're violating Signal's license, yada, yada, yada. Dude downloaded the app. They're private, paid for it, I guess. But got the link to the S3 bucket and then found other stuff there. Microsoft App Center, yada, yada, yada. Long story short, interesting shit in here in terms of hard-coded credentials. They have an Android version and an iOS version.
Not great.
Not great. They have a detailed documentation for it, and where the chat logs are stored was secure.telemessage.com. So they logged in there as an admin and assigned users to archive plans, including a source, yada, yada, yada. So once you got into the back end of where you can essentially go in and do this officially if you are allowed to, it looks like he was able to bypass that and get into other people's shit where he shouldn't have. And he wrote it all up. Good for him. I don't know if this is technically even against the law, because this app itself just existing is technically against the license for the application itself. So, I mean, technically he's taking apart an app that they already took apart, and it's not very well, it looks like. And
it doesn't appear that he's trying to sell it in any way. I mean, it's not like he's getting financial gain from this. If anything, he's probably just getting fed straight up his rear. So
he's getting intelligence that could be fed to somebody else, though.
I mean, yeah, he is. But then again, he could have gotten that intelligence from literally anywhere else.
I mean, maybe some of those. If there is a, depending on how long this has been known about, it could have been some data exfiltration that was not. There's some more investigation that should be done.
Yeah.
In terms of
he's still investigating.
Yeah, there's a whole lot
like here. this is interesting. The Android source code included a full .git folder, and you can see who did the commits. So you got these 3 people's emails who have done the commits, and the iOS version doesn't.
Great. Good.
They're using a private GitLab server with this subdomain, which is an Israeli top-level domain. And of course, the hard-coded credentials in the source code, not great.
So we have an interesting topic from the audience that I think Bat Stronk's going to want to cover.
Oh, wait, what? Huh? Bad Shark's going to want to cover what?
Yeah, this
What
interesting
is your
topic from
opinion?
the audience.
Companies that get tooling and set it up, start getting rid of them for cheaper, crappier. Oh God. Oh no. Hold that thought. I could go on a tangent about this. Actually,
Go on a tangent. Come on, Bat Strong.
Let's come back to this, shall we? Because I don't want to steal your thunder here. Because I'm walking my way through this too, in my day job, and fuck. Trust me, it's
Yeah.
yeah. I will expand on that. I promise. Just going ahead with your stuff there, your hard coded credentials. We'll come back to this.
Oh, that's pretty much it. That's the end of the story there. Let's talk about this. So when you're in an enterprise environment, right, the tools combined with the people and the knowledge are very important, right? So like if I set up Alien Vault as an example, and then I get all my logging sources configured to send data to that, and then I configure all the stuff that needs to be configured on top of that, and then I even get something like NIDS, network intrusion detections, and HIDS, host-based intrusion detections. I get all that stuff configured into a SIM. Once you've done that, the hard work is mostly over for the person configuring the SIM.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that you're still not going to have a lot of work to do from the team who's actually monitoring it as your level 1, your security operations center. Now, CrowdStrong, you know a lot about Blue Team, probably more than me. I'll give you that one.
You were constantly, yeah. I built
super
my career.
Expensive.
Yep, especially after oh god, who bought it? Cisco. Cisco bought it because they couldn't afford the Splunk bill. That's the joke, and made it more expensive. Not unlike Broadcom and vSphere, who have absolutely trashed that platform. God,
yes, they did. Broadcom really destroyed VMware.
Yes, I know. I'm real mad about it because I cut my teeth in my career on VMware and vSphere, and now I don't even use it anymore. So as you go through your automations and building, and again, literally what I'm doing right now, right? A lot of what I'm doing is automating, trying to make life easier for the young ones, and trying to deal with the kinds of things that come with that. And so we're having conversations now about what kind of tools need to be there and what kind of tools need to go. And some of them are getting in, and some of them, like I had a meeting last week about a platform that that would far exceed a lot of the capabilities that we currently have. And then if you once you get to the point where you might be losing those things, especially like something like Splunk, the SIM or whatever. Not like SIM has SPL, Splunk processing language, programming language, and it's specific to that. So I don't know if there's anything for like KQL or any of the others that are Elk Stack or any of those that just like automatically do it. I'm sure with AI you could probably come up with something, but then you have to worry about running all your queries through AI and making sure that all the things are the same. And there's so much that's involved in that kind of thing, and the kind of time and effort to the money, the cost to change platforms like that, especially when everything is coming into that one SIM, not unlike your Splunk, would be massive. And my curiosity peaks at how much is the actual cost savings, because you're going to end up paying a whole lot of people a whole lot of money to make that work again.
And then you migrate alone. Plus, if you got your syslog sources, you're gonna have to point them to a new open collector.
Yep.
It's a lot of work.
Orders.
And a lot of the options out there now, they're all online. It's like everybody's migrating to these online only SIM platforms and doing it locally is not as prevalent as it used to be.
I mean,
So
some of them you
getting
can't
rid of
run
it.
anymore. Like some platforms you can't run anymore because they were built for like vSphere. The old threat response, I know from Proofpoint, ran that platform ran on vSphere and nothing else. So when Broadcom did what Broadcom did, that was the end of that. And if you've worked with Proofpoint threat response and have had to move to the cloud platform, it's trash. It looks like some third graders wrote it in about 3 weeks, and it's crap. Not
Plus you
saying
need
that
tap, trap, and
Yep,
there's that third one
Yep.
just to be able to do the basic shit you want to do when you're responding to an email incident.
all those there's a lot to it, and the thing I've learned as I've moved in my career is that there's a lot more. So like when I started as an analyst years and years ago now, I had no concept of how much it actually takes to do the thing, even though I had plenty of platform knowledge about the systems and administration and all of that from where I came from. Had no idea there were so many things that actually went into orchestrating and making, say, something like Splunk work. And then I built my own instance, and that was the end of that. Wild. Which I recommend you do if you're interested in something like that. If you live in a blue team, go build your own Splunk instance. I mean, there are a lot of other things you can do, and you're welcome to ask questions or whatever if you're interested in that kind of thing. I'm happy to point you in the right direction if you want to learn something. But I am very into learning things, if that's not clear, but also very into proliferating the knowledge, which is another reason I like to do this podcast. So I think everybody's feeling that right now, that we are a lot of things are getting more expensive, and maybe companies are making less money and are talking about shifting kind of what kind of platforms they're going to be using and what they're going to be doing and all of these things. But a lot of my life right now is working on automation and trying to get rid of some of the stuff that my organization is using and some other things like that. So
I'm gonna mention some alternatives, and you give me your opinion on them based on what you've heard. Okay. So we have Elastic Stack.
Okay.
Graylog.
Okay.
Signas.
I have personally used. I have done I don't know 3 or 4 weeks worth of Elk Stack, and I used a logarithm was the first thing that I ever used in a SOC, and it was crap. Elk Stack could work. I haven't had enough time in a real environment to be able to say anything about it. And then Splunk is really the only other thing I have any real knowledge of. I haven't had the immediate opportunity to look into any further because that's not my immediate concern based on the things that I'm dealing with. And when we went from logarithm to Splunk in my old organization, it was Splunk or Elk Stack, and the only reason we had those two is because Elk Stack was being used by our NOC. So I mean, it was there. We had it. I could play with it in a real environment and see what it was and how it would do. But we ended up working with Splunk. It worked out fine. But I don't have that much knowledge right off. So I don't want to be the one that says, hey, go with this platform or whatever, because I'm not a shill. But also, you know, these are the things that I have done and accomplished through my career based on these platforms. Your mileage absolutely will vary.
When it comes to like open source and self-hosted stuff that you can spin up, you got Security Onion, which is pretty much a bunch of tools cobbled together with an interface that's running Elk Stack, Elasticsearch, Logstash, Kibana, and under the hood you've got other tools that feed it data. When it comes to like log ingestion, that's going to be your Logstash. Elastic is going to be your search and analytics, and Kibana's visualization, Beats for data shippers, all that fun stuff. I've also heard people using Logstash and FluentD, which is open source data collectors for building like logging pipelines. Signas and Graylog are two other ones that are open source to a degree. They have like paid options.
Sure.
Now there's a lot of cloud-based ones out there. You know, your mileage may vary, and it's not just the platform.
Vary. It's not may vary. It will vary, guaranteed.
Yeah, man.
As I said, if you're in the blue realm, honestly, there's enough out there where you can go and just do the thing. Splunk gives you 50 gigs of, like, if you are a Splunk customer, your organization, you can get 50 gigs of space, storage space a day to play with in your own home lab if you want. That's great. But like you can, as Hammer was saying, security onion, things like that. I mean, just go for it. There's a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah, and once you actually go above that, your pricing gets pretty expensive. You're looking at like $1,800 a year per gig per day. So about $5 a gig a month. You're going to scale that. You're looking at like 18 grand a year for like 10 gigs a day. And if you go more volume, it's going to increase dramatically. So you got to be very picky about what log sources are actually valuable. Like if you were using Alien Vault, which is the one I used to set up for people back in the day, back before they went to their cloud offering, I do on-prem Alien Vault setups. They would have these cool rules where you could do like filtering based on the content that's coming in. So you could take like part of a log, but be like, I don't want messages like this. So just drop those messages. Even though we're going to get the log source itself, if this type of message comes in, drop it so it doesn't count against my quota, which was pretty freaking cool. Yeah. So if I have these useless, like, say, uptime logs that are from like an SNMP trap, I don't give a crap if somebody's printer went offline. I don't need that in my security shit.
Sure.
But there are logs that are valuable, like Windows event logs, but you need to log every event type. You know, log in, log off events, definitely. But certain esoteric things like, you know, errors related to system components that are not something that would be a security event, it requires a lot of finesse and tuning. Yep. If you don't want to fill up your instance with garbage, that's not going to be helpful in the investigation. So there's a lot of nuance to setting up logging properly.
Yep. Tuning is also a big deal, right? It is quite literally impossible. Just, I don't know, 30 minutes worth of seeing an organization worth, I mean, just a number of devices. Hell, here in the lab, dude, just having an hour worth of data just from everything going in and out all the time is almost unfathomable. Like, just if I didn't have something like Splunk, my capability of pulling all that apart and having it all parsed out and everything, it's impossible to do wrong. Now, sometimes that's the way to do it, but trying to do it all at once is it's just too much. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. And Steve is now sending us photos of him with people who were on that wonderful Tiger Team TV show.
Freaking Steve. Always making me jealous. Dude's out there drinking and having a good time, and I'm like, oh, man.
I mean, I'm sad I couldn't be there with him. It was just,
same.
I had things to do. It's what happens.
Things to do, people to see, systems to own.
Life.
Yeah.
Life gets in
my
the
car
way,
to eat my money.
More car to eat your money? Oh no. Not more car to eat your money.
So we've got this interesting one from JP Morgan Chase. They're CISOs over at that RSA convention that I would not spend money to go to. And he has put out an interesting thing here that also is not freaking loading in my browser.
I would also like to mention your glasses are fantastic, Hammer.
They are.
They look great, man.
They are incredible. 10 out of 10.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I let Autumn pick out my new glasses. She went with aviators. I've never had a good opinion on these type of glasses. I kind of used to joke about them being rapist glasses. Because it doesn't look like fucking guy. Doesn't look good.
Back in the
apparently 80s, she thinks they look good.
Back in the 80s, maybe, but now, nah, times have changed, man.
Yeah. Why, Gary? Why? Oh, I'm so sorry.
So,
Father of the Year, man. Father of the Year. Fight me.
Share this open letter here because I think you guys will find this shit interesting. So this is the CISO of JP Morgan Chase, right? Big deal. And he's over at RSA and he releases this open letter. Okay. The modern software as a service delivery model is quietly enabling cyber attacks, and as its adoption grows, it creates a substantial vulnerability that's weakening the global economic system. Software providers must prioritize security over rushing features. Comprehensive security should be built in or enabled by default. Enabled by default's a big one because, like, if you've ever been on the receiving end of setting up something for a company, and they send you the link of this is what we want you to set up, a lot of the times the default configurations are going to be really insecure out of the box, and they don't really make a lot of effort to inform people who might not be familiar setting these things up, all the bullshit you need to do when you're in Azure or AWS to make sure that your instance, when it's set up, isn't just leaking information to fucking everybody.
So just as a devil's advocate here, the problem you run into with having something locked down, you can't just deny all and hope for the best. It's like lighting your router on fire, right? I can make your network secure, but I'm going to light the router on fire. Good luck. But it takes time to do the configurations and things. So if you have something that is really hardened, which is ideally better, yes, it may be that you have a stop of business continuity. And one of the big things that I had to learn early on in my career is that business continuity is actually more important, because without the business, there's no security anyway. Which
when it comes to three things the CISO cares about, you have the CIA triangle.
Yeah, huh?
And the A is just as important as the C for a lot of
I'm
companies.
about to say the A stands for protecting his asshole. All right, he's going to protect his butt no matter what. But
yes, but without the business, there is no need for the security. There just isn't. It's just what it is. Organizations that outsource to overseas because it's cheaper because they inherently introduced a risk. That is correct. Oh boy, North Korean actors. So that's a wild one.
We actually have some stories about that this week.
Yep.
Oh God, hold on. I was reading up on this. Famous Choloma, I think it was. The Koreans that are coming in through third party or contracting houses or whatever.
Yep, we got the story right here too.
Find from far away test.
I guess it's time to go to that story then. Jump cut. Insert
jump cut.
There's something to be said. I wanted to bring up, or I wanted to note. What about organizations that outsource overseas because it's cheaper? I've been there too, right? I've had where there has been situations where there have been outsourced security operations centers. Like I trained a whole bunch of them for my old organization, and we promptly got rid of them because they were not great and absolutely posed more risk. But it is an attempt to cut costs, right? And sometimes the business just has to learn that that's not the way to do it. However, if you get to a point in your career where the organization that you're working for is actively outsourcing somewhere around you, probably time to keep that resume updated. Of course, I am a firm believer in always have that resume updated. You never know. It could be tomorrow. But yeah, no, it's rough. Being in the security industry that most companies don't care. Again, it's about business continuity. That's what the CEO is worried about is business continuity, and that's that's the thing, right? If the business does not continue to work, continue to make money, it doesn't matter. None of the rest of it matters, right? And so you have to be able to protect it, but you have to also be able to, again, availability, CIA, confidentiality, integrity, availability. So, Splunk, Elastic, I quit and find a new job.
Yep.
Yeah.
That checks out.
Yeah, that's about right.
Don't know where you're at, man, but I hope it gets better.
Yeah, same.
And follow the advice of get a new job first.
Yeah, don't leave before you quit. Or don't leave before you find something new. I had a friend of mine.
It's a lot easier when you have a job to find a job.
Yeah, I had before I got in my security career, I had a friend of mine that I ran with. One of the groups that I hung out with when I had to be right out of high school. A few years after we met, he was working at an insurance company and had some claims against him in terms of how he was treating people that they could not prove, but they claimed that he was treating people poorly, which I don't think he was, but I could see based on the temper that he had, maybe. Anyway, he ended up getting angry one day and just stormed off and quit. He ended up losing his house and all kinds of other things. And it was not great. I saw him a few years later when I lived in North Carolina. He was actually, he had moved up to South Carolina and was Ubering at the time. And he calls me up one night out of literally nowhere and said, "Hey, are you up in North Carolina?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. I am around this area. What's up?" He goes, "I'm Ubering somebody out. Can I crash on your couch or whatever?" And I happen to have the space, and I was like, "Yeah, man, just come on out, whatever." And so it was a nice reunion. But there was a year, probably a year and some change there, that he didn't have a job just because he quit. He got mad and he quit. So even if you're mad, make sure you have something to land on before you just storm off, because I think Sledge can also tell you the industry in general, not just the security industry, but everywhere is tumultuous right now. The whole trying to get a job anywhere is a rough time. So
Yeah, I know that feeling. I just now fixed it.
oh yeah,
And yeah,
you also know this problem.
Mhm.
we are seeing a lot of companies that now are opening up their pool of applicants to either the entire US or sometimes the entire world, which means you're not just competing with people in your local neighborhood who have the same skill set as you anymore, or where you can commute. You're competing with everybody. So you really need to lock down a new job before you go looking for another job.
Yeah.
I said that wrong, but you understood what I meant.
Lock down a new job before you leave your old one.
Correct.
I can't stress this enough. You are correct.
And speaking of people trying to steal your jobs, you're also competing with the North Koreans. Why? Because they're using AI bullshit to not only fill out the applications, make the perfect candidate, create an identity, but they're also using it to then, once they get hired, exfiltrating all your company data.
Yep.
So this particular story talks about somebody needing a computer programmer candidate, and he thinks he's found the perfect guy for this. He aced their coding test online. He was excellent. He has this name, Simon Wickman. So he sounds like he's an Anglo dude. They get him in the interview, but guess what? Instead of that guy showing up, some heavily accented Asian person shows up with a generic office background and a laggy internet connection.
Yep.
He fires off his interview questions, and his responses were solid. But he also noticed that he seemed most interested in asking about the salary. Didn't come across as curious about the actual work. Interview came to a close, went to his next interview. Applicant said they're based in the US, had an Anglo name, appeared to be a young Asian man with a thick non-American accent. So a couple of red flags here, right? So he uses the virtual background check. Terrible on his internet connection, had a single minus focus on salary, yada, yada, yada. We go through the rest of this story, and we see that a lot of companies are dealing with this, where they're trying to hire, and the applicant who they think is going to show up in the interview is replaced
by somebody who's
not that person. It's crazy.
There are a whole lot of things that specifically North Korea has been doing. There are a lot of tells, though, as you go through and you really start looking at the kind of indicators. They'll be kind of flippant about being on camera or whatever. They won't talk as much. If you look at what they're actually doing work-wise, it's usually not a lot. They're laptop farms. So they'll give you an address at first and say, hey, right before they're supposed to start, they'll reach out and say, hey, I need you to send this laptop to my mother's house in a laptop farm somewhere, which you don't know, or the IT team wouldn't know as a laptop farm. So they just ship it wherever it's going. And, because I just don't have that time. So a way to kind of attack this, a lot of this is done through internet-based KVMs, keyboard, video, and mouse systems. For you who don't know, those give off a certain signature. You can detect those.
If it's an IP-based KVM.
If it's an IP-based KVM, you can absolutely detect those. And with those laptop farms, that's really what it is somebody in North Korea sitting doing the thing, pulling off money for nukes in Pyongyang. So like, yeah, you can start really hunting these if you know what you're looking for. And I mean, I think there are IOCs out there for it, but I mean, you could also just get IP-based KVMs and start looking for your own. It depends on how big your house is, what kind of resources you have at your disposal to figure that out. But yes, you can find these folks. But yeah, anyway, I've done a lot of digging into this.
Yeah, it is crazy what these guys are doing here with these laptop farms. The whole infrastructure that they've had to have set up locally so that they can proxy the traffic so it looks like it's coming through from the US. So the IDS doesn't immediately pick up the traffic's going right to Korea.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into this, and they've spent over 10 years getting it right, it seems.
Yep. It is incredibly impressive.
It's crazy with these, and it's not just North Korea. Yeah. There are luckily still some telltale signs that can be used in terms of indicators that you're likely dealing with one of these people, but I have an imagination that over time those are going to get smaller and smaller, and it's going to be harder and harder to tell.
Sure. But yes, it's incredibly impressive in the worst kind of way, but it's incredibly impressive. When I heard
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, I was saying it was incredibly impressive the first time I heard about it. It was wild. But go on. I apologize.
Oh, also in the news, we have a report that Russians GRU, otherwise known as APT28, and a new unit, 20728, were both responsible for the Paris Olympics cyber attack, which is interesting. I don't know why anybody would waste the time to hack the Olympics. They did, but it's I guess it was a big deal for them. And Washington Post has a really interesting article that came out. Essentially, the gist of it being that your subscription-based car services are providing very detailed data about your driving habits, not only to the police, but also to insurance companies.
Sure. Yep.
So like you get a connected car, you have your infotainment system that can maybe access Spotify,
yep.
And you don't ever accept any kind of EULA for this shit. You're just in your car. It's feeding back data about your driving habits to these people who are buying it.
Yep.
And that's kind of nuts, is that these new cars are just wired to do that to begin with. And it's not something you opt into. It's just the way the car works. And Ford is a big offender of this. They also supply a lot of the police with cruisers, mind you, but they're actually snitching on you as you're driving. It's not just you they're snitching on now. It's the cameras in your vehicle being used to snitch on other drivers and also feed into license plate systems, while at the same time, you're paying the bill for that data going over that SIM card that's uploading all this wonderful information for them. So it's kind of bullshit.
Well, Ford isn't nearly as big as it used to be. They used to run the Crown Vic series, and they stopped making those a number of years ago. So you've got the Taurus now. You've got I've seen a couple of places, a couple of law enforcement centers have Mustangs. Few and far between, but most of them are Dodge. You've got a whole lot of that there now. Dodge and Tahoes are big law enforcement vehicles. So I would be willing to venture, without numbers in front of me, to say that Ford has at least lost a percentage of that market share. And they are not the only offenders.
We have this article we can only see part of from 404 because I don't have the $10 a month for a subscription right now. But the gist of this one being that ICE is planning a central database of health, labor, and housing agency data so that they can more easily find targets. Pretty messed up in terms of invasion of privacy, in my opinion. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to DuckDuckGo that and see if I can find another source for it, which is going to be this other website, which I've never heard of before, which hopefully doesn't have too much JavaScript. And it does seem to have too much JavaScript, so it's not going to load with no script running. Let's see, this one works. So we'll share that one. So this is a summary of the 404 media article here. ICE is planning to bring together data from a bunch of different government agencies, including Department of Labor, Health and Human Services, HUD, IRS, to centralize databases so that they can identify immigration targets. Now, you've all heard that poem back from the days of the Nazis. It's like, first they came for the socialists, and I didn't care because I wasn't a socialist. Then they came for... If you don't think because you're not an immigrant, this is not going to affect you, you're probably very, very wrong. Because once you have a centralized database that's able to cross-correlate information from Department of Labor, HHS, HUD, the IRS, and God knows what other agencies, I doubt it's going to ever just stay with the ICE people. They're going to start using it to target people who might have cheated on their taxes, that an AI might have decided you cheated on your taxes. They're going to use it for all sorts of shit that it was not intended for. Just like when they decided we're not going to let people in New York who have a mental health issue have a gun. So we're going to create a registry. And if you've ever been to the hospitals need to let us know if you've been in a psych ward so you can't have a gun. But then that list got leaked online of all the people on it. And the next thing you know, if you've ever been to a mental hospital in New York, even for something as simple as anxiety, your insurance premiums go up because it was sold to the insurance companies. It's messed up. And once this data is aggregated, what it's going to be used for is not only scary in that they're going to be deporting people and, you know, all that nonsense that goes with that, but this is a lot of power in the hands of one database. And I imagine it will probably get accessed by people who are not intended to have access to it. Just like we've seen police departments get hacked. And then later on, you see people doing fake fake warrants, supposedly from police departments to companies like Google to get people's data and then getting it back to the police officer who never actually had a warrant in the first place. But then they create an inbox rule to automatically delete any email that comes from that domain, but forward it to them first. We see this kind of shit already. It's going to be worse when we have all this data in one place. There's a reason we segment things. There's a reason zero trust is the thing. Segment access to each system individually. There's a reason. Go ahead.
I'm an extremely firm believer that privacy is a right, not a privilege. And that's for everybody. And the reason that is because once you open the floodgates, it's just like with a firewall or something. Once you open the floodgates, something's going to come in. You may not intend for it to come in. You can mean all the well in the world, but somebody's going to abuse it. It's just going to happen because that's the way that humanity works. We abuse things. Shodan is a fantastic example of that. Your IT guy that put his silos on the internet so he could remote to him, do the thing. Great. Well, some asshole Shodan comes, shuts them down.
That is absolutely correct. And if you don't think the government is interested in this kind of shit, you're wrong. On top of that, there's a report on Recorded Future. All my URLs are broken for some reason. This one came out last week, and it says governments are actually one of the biggest purchasers of zero-day exploits from these marketplaces. So, you know, we've got these companies that will sell you an exploit kit, but then you have actual governments buying exploits, and finding out they're one of the biggest purchasers of exploits is not as surprising to me as you would think. You know, I still don't trust the Intel management engine that's been in every computer since 2004, not to give exact remote access to my machine to somebody who's got the right credentials and knows how to do it. I still don't trust that backdoor. And if you look at old versions of the management engine, there was a bare bones version of Linux that it ran that could actually tap into the system, kind of like a KVM would, or like an iDRAC, and let you see the screen, let you control what's going on the computer. And that was like in 2005. Can you imagine what Minix has evolved into since then? Because it's on almost every computer. And if you're running Windows, I don't run Linux. Well, guess what? There's a little chip on your computer that's running Minix somewhere, and you're not the one who has root access to it.
You know who does? You know who does run Linux? The problem as a service.
Hey, woo! Although you're pointing at the wrong person on that screen for a second.
Oh,
but,
for me, it's when I look at it, it's this one. So I don't know where you guys see, but
Just go like this.
Like
Other
this.
hand. There you go. Up. Yeah, that's it. There you go.
All right.
You got it.
For me, that's you.
Careful with that handshake.
It was yeah. Anyway, there was a whole lot of bending there, and that's important. Thanks. Preach.
Indeed. Well, we go to the media assets now, and then I just change this one.
Hey,
now
look,
he's a he.
There you go.
It's crazy what's going on in the world today. Krebs on Security did a great write-up that came out today inside a credit card fraud ring that I want to go over real quick, assuming this freaking link works when half my other links didn't. And of course not.
Every bit of it. It's all perfect.
Find it real quick. Dead air.
Sounds like we need an Adventures of Batstrong. Batstrong. Fill airtime. Airtime.
No. Batstrong.
I was out fighting crime the other day,
Yes.
flying around the city of Gotham, and I'll tell you, Commissioner Gordon is really easy to spook. Man, for being who he is, he's really easy to scare. All it took was some mad ninja skills and a stapler, a couple strips of paper, and I won't go any further than that. But all you need to know is bro's scared.
No.
Bat Krebs.
Bad Krebs.
Yep, Bat Krebs. Oh, this is another big story. I'm just going to cover this one because I can't find the other one.
Okay.
Yeah, it works. So XAI, the company that now owns Twitter and has shares in Tesla and also other shit that Musk does. Well, an employee of this company accidentally leaked an API key that has access to all the things.
Of course they did.
Yep.
So this is an employee of his artificial intelligence company, XAI, leaked a private key on GitHub.
Hey, good.
That for the last 2 months may have allowed anyone to query private XAI language models, which appear to be custom made for working with internal data from Musk's companies, including SpaceX, Tesla, and X.
No.
Philippe Kateregi, Chief Hacking Officer. What a shitty title. Who would call themselves
Chief
that?
Hacking Officer. No. Back that the fuck up.
That's funny because
What?
that's what Hammer usually calls himself.
That is one of my titles. Yes.
Yeah, that's why that's funny.
At the security consultancy Ceralis was first to publish the leak of credentials for an upcoming application programming interface exposed in GitHub's code for a repo of tech staff at XAI. He did a post on LinkedIn which caught researchers at GitGuardian, the company that specializes in this shit, and their founder, who got interviewed, told Krebs the exposed API key had access to several unreleased models of Grok, the AI chatbot. In total, they found the key had access to at least 60 fine-tuned and private LLMs trained on private data
They were
sets.
just 9 short of the funny number.
Not the funny number. Not the funny
man.
number.
So not only was this API key exposed on his GitHub for nearly 2 months,
Great.
but also he apparently submitted a bug bounty to HackerOne on this, but shortly thereafter, the API key just got revoked and he wasn't paid any bounty. Amazing
Wow.
how that just coincidentally
Wow, that's
happened. You know,
crazy.
like you submit a bug report to HackerOne, and
they
then the
fixed
bug
it.
just disappears.
Oh,
know?
wow. What a coinky dink.
Nonsense.
Craziness in terms of just coincidental, you know?
Wonder how that could have ever
Like
happened.
they want all the work, but they don't want to do the pay thing. That's no good.
Yeah. And we didn't really cover this when it happened, but the NVE database nonsense, that was a thing.
Oh, yeah,
they did find funding, but I think it's not for very long. So we'll see that probably pop up in the news again.
Yeah, where they stopped funding MITRE.
Apparently, they found a frozen burrito in their freezer or something, so they can hang around another week.
Wall chicken. What?
Wall chicken.
Wall chicken. That's how they did it. It was wall chicken. Wall chicken saved MITRE.
I think they might be better off if they just rolled their own VPN.
There you go. Isn't there a new commercial or something?
Ah, you know, that would be awesome if there was.
You know, I will play you your commercial that you love so much. This podcast will be back after a short commercial break.
We're not shills. We're not shills. We're not shills. We're not.
It's not a real commercial. It's a fake commercial. It's part of the Backstrong cinematic universe, y'all.
Pretty funny. Wow, is this what we're going with?
Backstrong cinematic universe.
Oh no.
Oh, you want to protect your precious data from the prying eyes of your ISP, the NSA, and your nosy neighbor? Well, good luck with that. But if you insist on not being a sheep, roll your own fucking VPN is the way to go. First, go buy a VPS. Don't worry, it's not like you're renting a server to host your illicit activities. Or are you? Then, install WireGuard. It's like setting up a secret underground bunker for your internet traffic, but without the risk of being raided by the feds. And the best part? You get to deal with all the fun of configuring your own VPN. Who needs user-friendly interfaces when you can spend hours debugging config files? Just generate some keys, set up your server and clients, and voila! You'll be encrypting your traffic like a pro. Or, you know, like a script kiddie trying to hide their torrenting habits. So why pay for some overpriced VPN service that's just going to sell your data anyway? Roll your own fucking VPN. It's like DIY for your digital paranoia. Trust me, it's a blast. You'll be the envy of all your friends who are still using public Wi-Fi without a VPN. Losers, roll your own fucking VPN. Secure. Fast. Pain in the ass.
Two things.
If that was the only version of that you've ever seen, the answer is no, because we had this one first.
Are you tired of using VPNs that are slower than your grandma's gossip circle? Do you want to secure your internet without breaking the bank? Well, I've got the solution for you. Roll your own fucking VPN. First, you'll need to buy a cheap VPS. Don't worry, it's like renting a tiny apartment for your VPN server. Then install WireGuard. It's like setting up a super secure high-tech tunnel for your internet traffic. But wait, there's more. With WireGuard, you get blazing fast speeds and top-notch security. It's like having your own personal internet ninja guarding your data. Just generate some keys, configure your server and clients, and you're good to go. It's easier than making a decent cup of coffee. So why settle for slow, overpriced VPNs when you can roll your own? Get a cheap VPS, set up WireGuard, and join the ranks of the VPN elite. Trust me, it's worth the effort. Roll your own fucking VPN. It's like DIY for your digital security. Roll your own fucking VPN. Secure, fast.
How's that there, CrowdStrike?
Couple of things. That never gets old. I love that.
Yeah.
Two, every time I see that, it gets more interesting. It has layers. The song in the first one you played is "I Love You, You Love Me." It's the Barney song. That shit's hilarious. Never noticed that before. It's good. It's good.
Thank you.
That was not the one I was referring to, but sure, I'll take it.
No, it's all good. So our next story here, we've got
DragonForce ransomware. Do you have to play? Do you have to play Through the Fire and the Flames at 100% to decrypt it?
Oh, that would be so.
Oh my
cool.
god, that would be fantastic!
If I ever snap, y'all.
We just found the decryption key. Yes.
I'll go on record doing it because if y'all can pull that off, you deserve to have your shit decrypted, and I approve. Hey,
glad you caught that
Feds, write that down. Write that down. You might need to know that later.
This will not be on the test. So
It might.
You might actually if I snap.
the
but yeah,
co-op cyber attack is far worse than initially reported, with the company now confirming that data was stolen for a significant number of current and past customers. The ongoing forensics investigation showed they got the ntds.dit file. And if you don't know what the hell that is, it's because it's a .dat file, not .dit. And they wrote that wrong in the article. But the gist of it is that is your Active Directory database that's got like everything that's in Active Directory on it. They ripped that from a domain controller. Yeah, not great when that happens. And it looks like BBC correspondent Joe Tidy spoke with the DragonForce operator, who confirmed they were behind the attack and shared samples of corporate and customer data stolen. The threat actors claim to have 20 million people's information who registered for co-op membership rewards program. That's a lot of people's data, you know. They also claimed to the BBC they're also behind that cyber attack on Harrods. If you don't know what the hell Harrods is, if you ever go to the UK, that's one of the places where you can buy really overpriced like shirts and stuff, like a department store here, Sears used to be before that shit closed. But that's like one of the big fancy ones, and they got hacked, and they claimed they weren't hacked, but then they showed the information showing they were hacked. It's kind of like this is a repeating cycle. Somebody says I hacked you. They're like, nobody hacked us. They're like, here's the shit I hacked from them. They're like, maybe we had a minor security incident. And then they dump the actual domain credentials, and they're like, okay, we had a breach.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good old scattered spider.
Mm-hmm. So with SIM swapping attacks, this is just stop using SMS. Lucky warned us in 2017, don't use SMS for anything. Nobody listened. Most people still have SMS as a reset option for something. Don't do it.
By the way.
Yeah, shout out to Lucky. He's a friend of the cast.
He is.
GG Lucky, GG.
Indeed. What else have we got in the news that's even interesting at all? Riot Games is now using advanced anti-cheat systems to combat hacking in League of Legends and Valorant.
Every time I hear League of Legends, all I can think about is that one video that's just the one guy killing everybody going lol 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 the whole
Lol. Checks out.
Dude.
Lol.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they shouldn't have sucked.
Nothing like the GG, man. Nothing like the GG. Go on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I totally interrupted you.
No, you're good. So I think Evelyn can talk to this a little bit, because she's told me in the past how some of these systems that they use for anti-cheat are pretty intrusive in terms of even getting kernel level access to your system.
Okay, so Linux gamer for almost 15 years here. Getting around anti-cheat has kind of become one of my meanings in life. And some of the anti-cheat is so fucking evasive. We are talking 30 regetics if you're lucky. Like, one of the more famous anti-cheats, which I wish I could remember off the top of my head. I wish I knew we were covering this, so I would have prepared. But it's found in really shitty MMOs. Usually just fucking
Lol.
terrible MMOs. No, League of Legends is actually considered decent, honestly. It's one of the better ones. We're talking like slopware in an MMO format. Usually cash shop, focus, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so
those are basically rootkits. And I have systems that I have installed those shitty things on from my youth when I didn't know any better, that even today, there's actually no good way to get rid of it all the way. And it's still trying to call home to a server that doesn't exist. We're talking 15 years later, and my skills are not enough. And I'm like, okay, maybe I just suck at blue. But no, everyone I have ever gotten to look at, it's just like, nah, man, this shit, it's fucked. It's bad.
It's real easy. You axe that shit. You just nuke that shit from orbit.
Yeah, you nuke that shit from orbit. That was basically the advice I was given because
That's
nuke that shit
the
from
answer. Nuke
orbit
that shit from
or
orbit.
buy a brand new computer
Yeah,
and
man,
just
nuke that shit from orbit. It's fine.
write this one off.
Mhm.
Now, some anti-cheat is more evasive than others. Some of the more fun anti-cheat that we see more commonly today would be anything EA has ever produced. A lot of DRM is basically really shitty malware. A bunch of anti-cheat can double as DRM and vice versa because companies are trying to sell this as a one-stop shop solution now. But yeah, it's basically poor malware for people who just want to have some freaking joy in their lives. It's really,
I got
really
I got a juicy one for next here.
Go for it. Before I get depressed, because this topic is going to make me rage depressed, if that makes sense.
So
Wow, I
Palantir,
keep hearing Palantir. This is a thing that
Yes.
keeps coming up.
Palantir, who, by the way, with the amount of information they have on every person in the United States, you'd think they'd be smart enough not
Wild.
to leave their Slack open to get hacked here, but apparently, according to internal Palantir Slack chats and a message board that was obtained by 404 Media, I really got to get a subscription over there. They are showing the contracting giant is helping find the location of people flagged for deportation. That Palantir is now a more mature partner to ICE, and how Palantir is addressing employee concerns when discussing ethics. Very interesting. So Palantir, the surveillance giant, yada, yada, yada. Long story short, somehow somebody got a copy of this over to 404. I don't know what the hell happened there because I can't read the rest of the article. But I might just email Joseph at 404 Media asking him, hey, man, could you stop putting your stuff behind a paywall?
Or could you get him on the cast? That way we have an excuse to hack his paywall. I mean, nothing.
Look, I tried my normal tricks where I just use like no script and I'll be like, fuck this site. But
12-foot ladder.
12-foot ladder.
12-foot doesn't work on this shit. I've tried it.
Really?
Let's try it.
I have it.
It's 12foot.io.
Yeah, huh? 12foot.io.
And we're going to pop that in there. And let's clean the web page. Cleaning web page. Share the tab. I actually found out about 12-foot from my friend Katie Donovan on Facebook back in the day. Used to work pretty well, removing all the JavaScript bullshit and then reconstructing the web page so you don't have to deal with the crap. Doesn't look like it's working on this one. Let me see. Maybe it's my no script. Let me add the trusted thing to this site. There we go. And if we scroll down, we're at the same exact place where the thing happened before.
There
doesn't work on this one. There's no bypass for this one that I've been able to find, other than getting somebody who's got an account to give you creds. And it's only $10 a month, so I might get it.
Check your signal.
But this post is for members only. Oh, thank you. Wow, that's very nice of you.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Anyway. Okay. So, next up in our list of fun stories to talk about, and we've talked about way more than I thought we were going to in an hour and 18 minutes. I thought we'd be on this all freaking day.
I actually took some of my ADHD meds, so I'm not as scatterbrained as usual. You're welcome.
I didn't, so.
SK Telecom, South Korean company, has been giving customers free SIM replacements after a malware attack somehow managed to allow for USIM data theft, meaning everybody who was a customer there got their SIM cards hacked, and now they need to get new SIM cards.
Not great.
Not great. Not great for an entire telecom. Very not great.
That's very bad, actually. That's bad.
It's bad.
I love responding that way because, like, I know that they're the main group of people who watch us are like people who kind of like understand this kind of thing, but like somebody's gonna watch this one day and be like, I wonder what that means. The answer is it's bad. It's very, very bad.
It bad.
No more happy.
Yeah. I found that article from the Atlantic on the Reddit thing I was talking about earlier. Let me share that real quick. So this is the secret AI experiment that sent Reddit into a frenzy.
Okay, all right, cool.
Okay, sorry. I can't inhale like that again. I
Wow,
will probably
internet
have to
ethics?
take off.
The internet is full of ethics?
Wait, internet has ethics?
What?
Did you know
What?
Reddit had rebranded itself to the heart of the internet? Because I didn't.
No.
Wait, it did what?
Anyhow.
That's
Well,
wild.
that sounds stupid. I mean, nothing.
I thought that was yahoo.com.
So earlier this week, when members of a popular subreddit learned that their community had been infiltrated by undercover researchers posting AI-written comments and passing them off as human thoughts, the Redditors were predictably incensed. They called the experiment violating, shameful, infuriating, and very disturbing. As the backlash intensified, researchers went silent, refusing to reveal which accounts were affected and their identity or answer questions about their methodology. And the university that employs them has announced it is now investigating them. Meanwhile, Reddit's chief legal officer, Ben Lee, wrote that the company intends to ensure the researchers are held accountable for their misdeeds, because only Reddit themselves can flood their shit with AI bots, not other people. Joining the chorus of
a platform being abused is wild. That's crazy.
What can I say? They called dibs. that was sarcasm.
That was the second time we mentioned a platform for good being abused.
They said the Reddit fiasco is the worst internet research ethics violation I have seen. No contest. They should look into the grievance studies.
Seen?
How many have you seen?
Like, how many has that person seen? Is this their first day on the internet? I mean, it says Georgia Tech, and after how they got their ass kicked in the last CTF they entered, yeah, okay. Actually, this might be their first day on the internet.
You guys familiar with the grievance studies from back in the day? That was Ellen Pluckrose, James, Lindsay, and Peter Boghossian. What they did was they realized a lot of these journals of academic journals that will publish articles online, like those kind of journals that you submit your research to, and then you get it published, and then it gets peer reviewed. They will accept anything that kind of meets their confirmation bias. So they came up with a bunch of fake articles on fake research studies that they did that were not real to see if they would just publish them without checking. And they did. One of them being that all dogs are rapists because, all this stupid kind of shit. One of them called Conceptual Penis that James wrote was pretty funny about the metaphorical penis. But they published these because they met their bias. To call this little nonsense that happened on Reddit for a few weeks the worst internet research ethics violation I've ever seen really kind of pales in comparison to a lot of scientific studies that have been created completely by AI that nobody's even aware and that have gotten published, and then people replicated results from them also using AI. I mean, academia is pretty effed at this point thanks to AI, and it's pretty hard to tell them apart from academic real stuff versus nonsense.
The platforms used by the platforms used to check work that are turning it in and stuff like that, trash. Like all that AI stuff, trash. I've got an inside scoop in the college space still. Obviously, going to that conference. But I have other ties to the collegiate space, and it's rough, buddy. It's rough.
It is.
It's rough.
Yeah, it rough.
That's bad for those of you who do not understand.
Insert joke about it rough because dogs here.
Nice.
So anyway, the long and short of this article is they're not happy about this. The college is not happy about this. Everybody's pissed off because some fake accounts were created on Reddit with reply bots, and they used those to gather interaction and data on how people would interact with them and waste time. It's not great that they did this research and published it, at least in their opinion. I actually think, depending on how their methodology was, it could actually be pretty valuable to advertisers to know how this works.
Did they AI it, or were they just looking for like responses? Because like if it was like Tay, I would be concerned, especially the decade after it's been since that happened.
Yep. Funny that you mentioned Tay. Also, they mentioned this one here. Remember when Facebook did their infamous emotional contagion study back in 2012, and everybody was pissed that Facebook was intentionally altering people's news feeds to try and make them depressed because they wanted to see how that would affect people's like mood if their news feed was nothing but like the world's ending kind of shit. Well,
I mean, wasn't it at the time? The Mayan calendar or whatever?
Yeah. Maybe the Mayan calendar was built with AI, and that's why.
My mama joked, did anyone think about checking the back of the Mayan calendar again? Like, did we look at the back to see if it just went on for like another few thousand years?
I think if anything, Reddit's probably pissed because they spent a lot of money making it so it's very hard to access their shit for free using both AI and also bots. They also locked down access to what used to be a free API to make it a paid API because they didn't want people using that for training data on bots.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see why they're pissed off because these.
Well, he's
gone.
Oh shit!
And
no, Reddit got him. Oh no.
Reddit got
everyone spread the news. Reddit killed Havoc. Reddit killed Havoc.
No.
Oh no. Cyberpunk 2077 was right. We can't trust the Carpos.
Cyberpunk 2069. What?
Wait, what? Oh no. Wrong game. That's the porno. That's the
porno.
No.
That was the funny number we were missing earlier.
He's mad.
You died, bud.
You dead.
I died. I'm back from the dead. I'm here again.
Resurrected.
What do you guys think of AI Joe? Any of you guys watch that?
AI Joe?
Yeah. Cyber News is the YouTube channel. This dude, I don't know if it's really an AI reading the news or if it's a dude who's very good at having a blank face. Or, I did play around with some stuff that does the same kind of stuff. Maybe he used his own face as a model. But I find it very amusing, this AI Joe shit that I see on YouTube. He reads
AI
like the
Joe
cyber
official?
news. Yeah, that guy.
Top 7 ways ChatGPT-5 will change the world. Yeah. This doesn't look. These are old. I don't think this is what you're talking about.
If you go on YouTube, right, and you go to Cyber News, there's this AI Joe character here that explains the tech each day. So I'll play one. Hopefully he doesn't copyright strike me.
And if he does, well, Reddit just killed you and brought you back to life. So, I mean, what are you really afraid of?
Press the screen. Enough. Success. You're in.
Can you hear it?
It works on the movies and TV shows. It should work the same in real life. It doesn't. No matter how hard you try, no matter how many keyboards you break, you are not going to break good cybersecurity.
I was say, dude, it's about as flaky as your internet right now, so maybe that's a no.
Imagine thinking that if it exists, it can't be broken or broken into. Wild. That's a hell of a
summer child.
That's a hell of a take, man. Yeah, I've not seen these, but I've just subscribed to him, so I guess we'll find out. We'll find out. It's fine.
What a sweet summer child. Oh my god. So cute. So cute. Honestly, think security alone is enough. Aww. Such a baby.
Nothing like a mess.
Must protect the youth. Must protect the youth.
Anyway, now that we're done with that joke.
Wait, that's a joke?
I assume it was a joke. What's next, Hammer?
Yeah, what's next, Hammer?
We can't hear you, bud. We can't hear you at all.
You are on mute.
You are on mute.
No, I'm not.
There you go. We're
Hey, he's back.
All right. So I've covered all the news shit I wanted to cover for this week. Let's talk cons. Who's going to what con, when, and where that you can talk about?
I don't know. That requires me to think like more than a day ahead. So that's honestly asking a bit much from me.
I am probably going to go to the Bitcoin bullshit conference in Vegas because a friend of mine got me a ticket. Outside of
Okay.
that, we have a couple of interesting conferences coming up. Besides Tampa, for one, Jessica's going there.
okay. Are you going to? We're all going to DEF CON, aren't we?
We are all going to the DEF CON. I
Cool.
am. This is my first year gooning for real. When I'm not fooning.
Phrasing.
Goon. Good goon. Not like
Yeah.
goon. I mean, it would.
Not
You
gooning.
want to hold the hammer like
Gooning,
this,
like-
not like this.
Get out.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I'm a noon. And,
Yeah, a new goon.
Jessica's too poor for DEF CON.
That's a shame.
Jessica,
I know that
save up
feeling.
and get yourself a ticket.
I'm
You'll
coming on.
enjoy it.
Fun. It will. It'll be fun.
Or find a village that's looking for volunteers and volunteer
Yes,
there for a few
yeah, you-
hours and then go to your talks.
There you go. Yeah. Go.
Wait,
go
y'all
on.
go to talks at DEF CON, really?
I am one of the weirdos who actually goes to talks at DEF CON. I was so mad when I was in the talk where they were releasing Bloodhound back in 2017, and my friend group kept pinging the shit out of me on my phone, telling me, you got to get out here, you got to get to the bar. And I got to the bar and nothing was going on at all other than them drinking. And I'm like, dude, I was in a great talk. I was learning about how to visualize Active Directory. What the hell? They're like, you don't go to DEF CON for the talks. I'm like,
I mean, they are
then-
right. Those are recorded. They are right.
Look, they may be recorded, but not all the village talks are recorded. And sometimes there's some good shit that you just want to see. And look, I am a weirdo. I actually really enjoy the talks at security conferences. I used to volunteer at SummerCon in New York and pretend to be a security guard so that I could get in and see the talks. And I was really happy about being able to go backstage and actually hang out with people like Ong from Red Balloon Security and like talk to him about his presentation before he gave it. That was badass back in the day. I get not everybody is super into the talks, but as a member of the Iron Geek crew, we live for information security talks. So it might be recorded where you can check it later. I like to see it when it comes out. I'm weird like that.
I sat in a couple of them. The first and I guess second DEF CON I went to. Well, I mean, I've only been to two technically, but the first one I went to was the Stingray one with the Raspberry Pi. I can't remember Sift or something. I can't remember what it called. It was super neat. It was something that I was looking at really in depth for quite some time, and the knowledge that came from that has been extremely helpful in my career in terms of my nonprofit days.
Are you talking about the Stingray detector?
No, the
Tom?
one that worked. Hold on, let me find it. I think it was.
Discovering and triangulating rogue cell towers.
I think it was the one that worked as a cell tower. Yes, that one. It was. What was it called? His name.
Was it by Eric Escobar from Barracuda?
Plausible.
So
I'll know it when I see it.
was it
Yeah,
in
it was-
DEF CON 24?
It would have been DEF CON. Let's see. It would have been 24. Yes, it would have been 24. DEF CON 24.
So MC catchers, man. I've built an MC catcher. They are cool. Definitely need a better thing for today.
I don't think it was called Justice Beaver though. It was called. Hold on, it's here somewhere. I can't remember what it was.
Triangulation.
Absolutely crazy. That's Dan Tentler. That's Western Hacker. Sentient Storage. Fan called Propaganda.
Propagander.
It's here somewhere. But yes, I was in that room when that was built. Great. Good stuff.
Badass. Data collection. Everything dumps to an SQLite database. That is good for like a day or two, and then that thing's gonna get so big it's not gonna be searchable. But yeah, SQLite's cool for little shit. I wouldn't use it in production. It's like maybe for test, right? I'm gonna write everything to a file.
Not shellfish.
I could say
Yeah,
DEF CON parking is slightly more annoying.
DEF CON 24, Chris Rock, how to overthrow the government. Hey.
Hey.
Oh, that was a good one. You were in that talk?
I believe I was, but that's not the one I'm talking about. Forensics. The badges this year are going to suck because they're not, what you call it. I'm real sad about that.
What happened with the badges this year?
They're not, it's an off year. It's not an even year, so it won't be a.
They're not shiny.
Yeah, they're not shiny.
Make sure
They
you
don't
bring
do
your
the
injection
blinky
molding
bird.
stuff to DEF CON.
There you go. Yeah, I have no idea what this talk was. I'm gonna have to go back and find it because I feel really bad about that now because it was really neat. I'm pretty sure I probably have it saved, honestly. So let's see. Where's my saved videos? And probably because I'm not on the right account. Good, love that. This is a really good reason.
Was it Chris Pageant, Practical Cell Phone Spying?
Hold on.
Freddie Martinez, Crypto and Privacy Village talk about IMSI catchers, maybe?
There's a. I have playlists. Just give me a minute.
We got Eric Escobar's Rogue Cell Phone Towers talk, and
Black Hat Europe. Solidity. That's not it. Really bad at this. That's what I am. I'm really bad at this. Okay, fine.
So was this the talk you were referring to? Let me just share the screen so you can see real quick.
Sure.
This one? Was that the guy?
All right. Can you go, oh, wow, you guys can hear me really well, can't you?
I don't think it was called Justice Beaver.
All right. My name is Eric Escobar.
All right.
I'm a security engineer for
It had
Barracuda
some other
Networks.
name. Funny malware.
Anyhow, I'm sure you'll find it.
It's here.
What I was thinking of doing, and I think this would be a cool idea. You know those mind maps I make? I was thinking of automating the process of extracting the text and slides from all the shit that's on DEF CON Media Server, or all the shit that's on Adrian Crenshaw's channel that he's recorded over the years, and converting each and every one of those talks into a mind map format, but adding in hyperlinks so that you can literally click to get right to that point in the talk. So if you're only interested in like this part of the talk, you can just click there. I think that'd be pretty cool. And then once we get a bunch of terms that we're going to have that are going to be like across multiple talks, maybe make it so that you can jump based on that term to somebody else's talk and do it like a link thing. So like I'm interested in this topic, and as I'm watching this video, I see there's this word, and if I click that word, it could bring me to another talk on that topic by somebody else, shit like that. I think with like visual mind maps, though, I think that would be pretty cool if I could figure out how to automate doing it. Because I'm certainly not going to sit there making them all day. Nothing from either of you. Boo. Boo.
You said talk, my brain went to sleep.
I'm still looking for this. I'm caught up in that. I want to find this talk. Okay. Maybe it was that one. Okay. Never mind. Excuse me. I guess they changed the name of it because I don't remember it being called that, but that's fine. Whatever. Anyway, cool. Yeah, that's I guess that's what we were looking for.
No, you're good.
You did the thing. Congratulations, you did it.
So as an example of what I'm talking about here, let me share this shit once I get my computer to stop acting like it's having a seizure. And kill that. Kill all these freaking Google Chrome tabs that I'm not using and pull that up. Okay. So this is like what a visual mind map looks like, right? So I was thinking for like, say we're doing this for a talk, you could have it so like if you click AI personas, for example, it could go to another talk that talks about that. Or if like any of these terms are common terms, we can make it so that like it's kind of a link thing. So kind of like I'm watching a talk, I want to learn more about AI drones and robot dogs used in Afghanistan. Oh, look, this other dude did a talk on that. Or I want to know about Palantir. I'm sure lots of people have done talks on them over the years. Or people who work for Palantir who gave talks. Like, I think it would be a really cool way to visualize all the different talks and show that shit. So for instance, on this story on AI surveillance and policing that we talked about earlier, we got Massive Blue, which is the name of that product that they have. And their product is called Overwatch, right? Now, I would like to make it so that you can then be like, okay, AI powered virtual agents. So I could have like a hyperlink here for virtual agents. And that would bring me to the point in that talk where they're talking about that thing if it were a talk, right? That's just kind of the gist of it. I think it would be useful to some people. Other people might just think it's stupid. But I love taking like data and doing this to it. One, because with VS Code, there's a plugin called MarkMap that does it really quickly. And two, if I could just automate that with the MarkMap Python script that has the same kind of output here and feed it a bunch of content, I'm pretty sure I could generate these pretty much on the fly for a bunch of different shit. And I think it would be useful to people who don't necessarily have the time to watch an entire DEF CON talk if they just want to see what was talked about in that talk, kind of like at a glance. Anyhow, that's just the gist of it.
I want to run it through my laser engraver.
I know you do.
That's I'm pretty sure that's going to happen eventually. I'm going to do the thing.
Well, at least Metal Alchemist loves mind maps. We got somebody with some good taste in the audience.
Hey, they just lost their group status. They are no longer the Risen Bull Rangers, and I don't care. They're no longer the Risen Bull Rangers. So that's a thing. 20 years later.
What?
And if you don't know what that means, that's okay, because you're not that deep into the anime lore. That's fine.
Okay, Nisa.
So the folks Metal Alchemist, I'm pivoting. Full Metal Alchemist, Edward Elric.
Alphonse Elric.
Yep. Yeah. The voice actor for Edward Elric is Vic Mignogna. Vic Mignogna had a group of people who followed him for years that were called the Risen Bull Rangers. He came on. He put out a big old heartfelt message the other day saying, "Hey, I'm hanging that up. The Rangers are done. Whatever." So they've changed their name. I have no idea what it is, but they are no longer the Risen Bull Rangers. That's a thing that happened.
So you could say they're Mighty Morphin and changing their name.
Oh,
I know.
Pretty powerful.
No, you quit.
Are they teenagers with attitude?
there is a lot of teenagers with attitude in that group. Not gonna lie.
Don't get me started. That's a whole nother. My mom said my mother always taught me, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Well, you've been opening your mouth a lot in this stream, actually.
It's refreshing to hear you talk a lot. You know, you don't normally talk as
yeah.
much. You're usually just in the background, kind of chilling. You chime in once in a while. It's nice to have an actual conversation with you.
I mean,
Same.
sometimes it's a wise man speaks when he has something to say, a fool when he has to say something. I don't know. I'm good at saving Gotham now. This is what's happening. So like,
It is,
yeah.
As my grandfather used to say, better to be silent and thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt.
Yep, that's correct.
As my mama used to say, "Oh, god damn it, fucking stop that. Seriously, it's goddamn annoying. You better fucking stop."
What hurts? I'm curious. But also, can we do a philosophy episode one day? I think I would love that. That would be
I'm good. I'm setting that one out. I do not need to be surrounded by you two going on about philosophy. I already know I've made shitty life decisions. Thank you.
Oh, no.
much.
It's not about that. It's just like, I guess, philosophical ideologies and like observations. I real big fan of all kinds of people, man. I've done a lot of study. I sometimes sleep listening to Alan Watts. Big fan of Alan Watts. But I
Alan's
mean,
great, man.
The Socrates and Voltaire and Confucius and Lao Tzu, Sun Tzu. I mean, you name them. I've got their books. So like I'm here for stuff like that. If y'all want to have a
I mean, I could invite an actual professor of philosophy who's in my network
That-
on if you want.
that would be based. I would love that. Teach me something, please. Teach
Well,
me
it would be him teaching you, not me. 'cause
Yes, I
he
know.
knows a lot
What
more
I'm
about
saying
this
is,
shit than
I'm
I do.
here for it. I would have a blast doing that.
I try not to think about life like that. I don't know.
In fact, I'm pretty sure I could probably maybe get Peter Boghossian to come on. We have friends in common. And he was a professor of philosophy over at Portland State University before they decided they didn't want him there anymore because he wasn't preaching what they want.
Sure.
But he's a good dude.
I'm sure I would be made to look real dumb, but you know what? That's all right because I learned something in the process, and that would be fine by me.
It would probably be one of our lowest viewed episodes, but I'd be fine with it. It'd be fun. We should do
Cool.
it.
Right on. I'm here for it.
The philosophy of hacking. We'll call it that.
Anyway, hey, we could spin that off. That'd be fun. We could absolutely do it. That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Absolutely. All right, so I think we're gonna call it quits for today. I'm kind of burnt, and I don't want
It's
to
been
do
almost
this
2
anymore.
hours.
Yeah, man.
How quick it happens.
Exactly. So let's hit the outro and see how it goes.
Is it gonna be the new one?
I don't know. It's whatever I
Aw,
have.
Come
currently
on.
Dude,
queued
you
up
haven't
here.
even showed the new
You've got
ad.
You've got the new
Come on.
ad thing, man.
I didn't show the new ad. I thought I showed the
No,
new
You
ad.
didn't.
You did roll your own VPNs. You did both of those, but you didn't show the new one.
Oh, well, here we go.
Got guilt, got game, got compromat? Call now and confess your sins, straight to Big Brother, in the new and improved NSA confession booth. Skip the warrant, skip the subpoena, just talk dirty to your government, because confession will make you feel better, and help us prioritize our investigations.
Encrypted, sure, like a Caesar cipher on a cereal box. Every call is stored in our cloud. And by cloud, we mean a quantum black site in Utah. And don't worry, our metadata contains all your data, and all your base are belong to us.
I downloaded Kali Linux just to look cool in coffee shops. I ran Who Am I and cried at the answer. I said I use Arch, but it was actually Manjaro.
I backdoored my own fridge because it insulted my Python code.
I installed Gentoo once, still compiling my shame. I told my manager we were air-gapped. We weren't. It was just unplugged. I signed up for Mastodon, then went back to Twitter like a coward.
I flashed my BIOS with ChatGPT instructions. Now my toaster runs FreeBSD.
I rooted a Nest thermostat for revenge. My ex still can't heat her apartment. I taught my grandma to use Proton Mail, then fished her.
I built a Faraday cage for my cat. She didn't consent.
I once hacked my way into DEF CON and immediately got owned at badge check-in. They put me on the wall of sheep. I think zero trust is just gaslighting with a budget.
Whether you're a script kiddie with guilt or a nation state with buyer's remorse, we're here to pretend we care. We believe in due process, due whenever we feel like it. So go ahead and tell us your secrets. It's not like we don't already know them. You talk, we stalk. NSA confession booth, snitch on yourself in style. Coming soon to your Ring doorbell, and probably already there.
I love it so much.
That's so good.
It's so good. It's so good.
That's fun.
Thanks for that. Appreciate that.
You're
All
very
right.
welcome.
This was fun.
Hasta la pasta all.
Hasta
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.